session. Our first meeting we'll have this month. We have another one next week. And as we begin, as we always do, if you would like to join us, we're going to begin with a moment of silence. Thank you. You'll stand with me now and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now we will have the approval of the agenda for the work session of September 11th, 2023. Did anybody have anything they wanted to change, add, delete? All right, if not, it stands approved as presented. And at this time, we have school highlights, and we are excited to have Tracy Long, the director of Oconee Academy, and Steve Moore, the director of Adult Ed. And obviously, Tracy Long, you are going to be first.
Party, so I'm just going to go first.
Great.
That's just good.
Good to have you.
Thank you for being here tonight. Going to talk a little bit about our program. At the beginning of the year, it's kind of slow picking up, adding numbers, but I'm going to highlight our service learning. But I was just going to give you an update on our goals for last year. We have 4 main goals that we report to the State Department. One is to have all students be a participant in service learning. High school students earn a credit if possible. That all students gain academically towards the next grade, whether you're a middle school student or to earn credits towards graduation. And we were successful with those, knocked that out of the park. The other thing is a decrease in discipline referrals, which we have managed to do that and have met that goal. The one thing that we have still lagged on is truancy, and I think that's just a statewide problem that's conflicted from the COVID. But we are still working on that. That's the only goal that we did not meet as stated in our plan. So just an update on that, but I'm very happy, very pleased with how our year turned out. Learning is hands-on at OA. We do a lot of service learning. As I mentioned, that's one of our primary goals. Not only we do service learning there in the building, we take them out into the community. Last week, we did a cleanup with South Cove. We have a partnership. We go once a month there. We went the Wednesday after Labor Day. We picked up over 40 gallons of trash from the banks, from the campground. We cleared paths from the storms on some of the paths, lifted canopy on the trees. That was what we did last week. You have reaped the benefits of what the kids did for you this morning. I promise that Mr. Farmer and Ms. Gardner steadily watched over. But we also do things, we also have the chicken house in the back with the garden. So we're out and open to do anything and everything in the community. Ms. Bay, on one of those slides, go back one from where we were doing. In the far right-hand corner, we have added a business, which looks like an election sign there to the right. It has the SDOC emblem. It also has a QR code to take us to our website, and hopefully Ms. Dodd will be able to help me so that we can also leave that in the community where we've done some things, but maybe get some other type of activities. Westminster area is one area that we have not been able to get our kids into to actually come up with a project that's beneficial for everyone. Because it's important for the kids to see and be able to carry their parents or their loved ones out to see the types of things that we're doing in the community. And that makes it more meaningful and valuable to them. But that's the highlight for our program at this point in time. And we're steadily open for business as far as anything. Also with your little goodie is a save the date. And we have 4 activities per year that we invite our parents to come. We have an October cookout. We will do transition meetings because that will be the end of the first 45 days. We always like to have a nice Thanksgiving meal with our families. And then we will also have a spring cookout and an end of the year celebration. So save the date. We'd love to have y'all come and do this.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Now, just on a personal note, I have a friend whose grandson has been there for the first time. And it's just amazing, I think, the change that they have seen in that child. So I just congratulate you on what you're doing with those students and what your program means to those children who just can't quite make it in school. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Moore.
I do not bring bearing cookie, bearing cookie. I come to you this evening once again, nervous for some odd reason, I have no idea. But just to say thank you to the school district for all the things that you do, providing us with the facilities, daycare workers, and the things that help us to be able to work with our adults. Very specifically, we've had a wonderful influx of good just numbers this year. We had 70-something people present for our orientation and intake during August. And today was our second orientation intake session. We were going to do this once a month, but I'm quickly having to change my mind because I hire some more people. Today we had 45 people to join up with us again, and we still have people that didn't show. So hopefully we will reach our goal. Our goal this year is to have 75 graduates by June the 30th, and if we achieve that goal, there will be some other things that Dr. Thors and I have talked about, which hopefully will also meet those goals as well. Now, the challenge, as I said to Ms. Bay, is an over and under, but I won't say anything. Our presentation tonight is there, so I bid you adieu and say thank you. All right, Ms. Bay.
Thank you.
There is sound, I
There
promise.
is sound.
That's right on TV.
Sorry, technology sometimes gets us, doesn't it? There you go.
If you could start it over, that doesn't count for time. All right.
The Safari guidance that I actually received from the instructors were very impactful in my life. And they truly wanted to see us succeed not only in our educational background, but also in our life. And support. I couldn't have my experience here at Oconee Adult Ed and how I achieved my GED. GED has impacted my life greatly. It's given me confidence that I didn't have before. You see, I actually dropped out of school early, at an early grade, and it was like 15 plus years later that I came back to achieve my GED. And so just that in itself of being able to achieve that has boosted my confidence. But it's also boosted my confidence in knowing that now that in my future job applications I have that included on there. And I would also say that it's in my current job as a office manager to be able to do my job more efficiently and because of the knowledge that I have been able to take from achieving my GED. But it's also just, like I said, there's more confidence, and so that's helped me in my current job where I have actually also since I've got my GED, I've actually moved up from part-time to full-time. And I've also gotten several raises since then. So I am very thankful for Oconee Adult Education and being able to have them help me achieve my GED.
Wow. Thank you so much. That's such a wonderful testimony to the work that you do, and we appreciate you sharing that with us tonight. Thank you. All right, we have a special recognition at this point.
So just to let everyone know about this presentation, the South Carolina School Boards Association is tasked with educating school board members around the state of South Carolina. There's a state law that says anyone elected to a school board position has to go through certain continuing education, professional education to learn how to be an effective school board member. And they do that through different conferences and meetings around the state. And tonight, we have 4 board members being recognized for reaching a new level of school board, I guess, training, you might say. And so we've got some certificates that I'll get here. Mr. Hammond, you want to come grab a picture? Sure. So I'll ask you to come down as I call your name. Ms. Holder, who was just recently elected, has reached level 1 now. So she has met the requirements of the law to be a school board member, so we appreciate her doing that. You just want to stay and we'll get one picture for everybody. Dr. Ketterman, she has reached level 2. So along with level 2 comes a silver pin from the South Carolina School Boards Association. Congratulations. And we have Denise McCormick and Dr. Sandra Sloan, who have both received level 4 certification. And with that comes a gold pin with a blue part on the end, which again indicates level 4. There are only 6 levels of board training, so congratulations. Congratulations. So we are happy to have a well-trained school board to continue to work towards learning more. Congratulations.
All right, thank you very much. At this time, it is time for public comment, and just a few comments before we begin. We do have 30 minutes allotted for public comment, and each participant is allotted 5 minutes. Now, Mr. Handy has a caution card when you have a minute left, and when he holds up the red card, it is time to stop. And tonight it's very important because we have 30 minutes, and we have 7 people signed up, so we may or may not be able to hear from that 7th person, just depending on how much time each member takes that is signed up. So at this time,
William Wilson. Rachel Pinkert.
Good evening. As a recent transplant to this area about a year and a half ago, I often hear from locals, "Oh, you're one of those." But actually, truth be told, I'm actually one of these. I'm a wife and a mom who uprooted her family to come live in beautiful Oconee County, specifically the quaint town of Salem, South Carolina. Why? Because I'm one of these folks who feels strongly in the opposition of closing Tomasi Salem Elementary School, who continues to seek a community who is close-knit and cares about the families and children who reside here. I come from what was a once small town to what became one of the fastest-growing counties in the state of Florida. I don't want that for my children. I've seen what the closing of schools, big development, and overcrowding of schools looks like, and I want no part of that. I appreciate the smaller class sizes and significantly better student-to-teacher ratios. I currently volunteer at TSE. I'm part of the PTA and the School Improvement Council and attend almost all field trips and after-hours events. I see firsthand what goes on in the school. I get a feel for its environment and the overall performance of the school. It is true, the students at TSE care for their school. The faculty and staff truly are dedicated to the students of the school, and the community itself cares enough to fight to help ensure that our little TSE is not forgotten about and eliminated due to its small numbers. Since my daughter started first grade last year, I watched her class size grow by 4 students throughout the year. Already this year, I've seen her current second grade class increase by 2 students. The area is continuing to grow. And even though it may be at a slower rate than some other urban schools, closing and combining schools with another larger school is just detrimental to the students at both schools. Our children will suffer the consequences. I have seen it firsthand. They'll be seen as a number and not on a first-name basis. The car rider line will be significantly longer, bus rides cramped with much longer routes. School resources stretched thin. Teachers stressed to be able to spend the individualized time with students, all while an empty school building would sit and deteriorate. The DAR specifically donated this property to be utilized by TSC because the community was special and the children here deserve their own school. TSC's reading and math scores continue to improve, which is a testament to the dedication of the school's faculty, the positive learning environment, and the commitment of the parents to see that their child succeeds. A part of the mission statement the District of Oconee County says to partner with the families, and that is what I'm asking for in this case. I urge you, members of the Oconee County School Board, specifically our councilwoman for District 1, Mrs. Holder, to come by the school for a visit. I do not believe I've ever seen Ms. Holder attend a TSC event, but maybe if some special effort were taken to come see firsthand how our school operates day in and day out and spend some time there, meet some of the students and their families and staff, you also might understand why we are so passionate about our school and the community and keeping the doors open for many years to come. Let's be about the students, specifically in our area. We deserve our own school for our kids. Please save Tomasi Salem Elementary School.
Thank you.
Jocelyn Flom.
Hello, I'm Jocelyn Plum. I have two daughters that played volleyball at Walhalla High School. Two of our recent away games, Hart County and Palmetto, both over an hour away, we had experienced very high temperatures outside and very high heat indexes as well, in the upper 90s. The girls had to be on a bus with no AC with these extreme heat temperatures. With school now starting earlier, August and September, being hotter now than it has previously been, our district should prioritize ensuring our athletes are not in danger of heat exhaustion before they even arrive to a game. One of these trips, a girl threw up and experienced heat exhaustion symptoms. Last game to Palmetto on Wednesday, we once again were given a bus with no AC after numerous times being asked over and over and over. Any parent can ride by the transportation hub on the South Cove Road and see numerous buses sitting in the lot. Specifically on Wednesday, there were 8. Does this mean our district has that many broken buses? How are these buses being prioritized for our athletes? During COVID, when parents were driving students to games, there should have been plenty of time to work on these buses and do the general upkeep while they weren't being used for over a year. This has been an ongoing problem over the entire county in all sports. Parents thought we were going through all the right channels, going to the coaches and to the athletic directors, but to be told that they too are receiving pushback. So now we need to speak up and come directly to the board to have this addressed, and hopefully we can make the health and safety of our students a priority. That's it.
Thank you. Zarai Mendez.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to say thank you to all the board members for everything you do for our kids. I wanted to speak today on behalf of all the parents who could not be here today because they had a sick family member they had to care for, or they had anything else that made it impossible for them to be here today. We came from a very big school, more precisely Gwinnett County, Georgia. That school was failing my son. They had diagnosed him with dyslexia and automatically put him in a special ed class where he was being taught nothing. Because of employment, we were lucky enough to move to Anderson, South Carolina 7 years ago. During that time, he entered second grade. I believe it was 16, 17 students in his class. His teacher was able to do one-on-one with them more often. Dyslexia was disregarded. That was not, he had no dyslexia. The only thing he needed was more time with him. Because of that, he was able to bring home an AB honor roll class. He was the happiest kid ever. Now Anderson started growing, and we decided to move to Tomasi because we've met a lot of people from Salem, and it's amazing people that we've met. We decided to move. We started hearing a lot about Tomasi Salem Elementary, and how people talk so nice about it. So we bought a house, we remodeled it. Took us a year of endless days and nights, but we did it all in a year so that our kids could enter school this year. So all I come to you is to beg you not to close our school. Closing it would just mean our sleepless nights, our tears, and our efforts were for nothing. Please don't fail our kids. Let them keep on having the wonderful attention their teachers are able to give them because they don't have to tend for 23 or plus students in their classroom. Thank you.
Lynn Martin.
I'm gonna keep mine short because you need to hear from the parents. You'll hear from me in no time. But, I want y'all to thank me for trying to get the word out that you are trying to close Tomassi-Salem Elementary School because I think your efforts have failed. You say you send things home. Well, what did you send home? Look at the long-range plan. Busy parents don't have time to look at a long-range plan. They're trusting you to take care of them and their children. I'm telling them what's really going on. They're proposing to close your school. I've had parents come to me and say, thank you. They thought that y'all had put the sign up that I put outside their school. Tomassi-Salem proposed closing meeting, September the 11th, 6 p.m. Call to speak or sign up. So thank me. I'm trying to get the word out. I want parents to know, I want our community to know what is really going on. You want to close our beautiful, wonderful school, which is absolutely absurd. It's a poor use of resources. We already have a beautiful school there. You can add on to it as development is occurring all around us. Just like Ravenel, beautiful school, you add on as you need it. Kiwi, they need a school. Please bus them somewhere for 1 year. I bet for the inconvenience of going somewhere, they would love to have a school on their own property. Thank you.
Eddie Martin.
I will as well try to make it quick so we can get everybody in here. I want to speak real quick about conservation. I don't know that we understand what the word means. When we have property that we can use, even if we have to raise the building where it's at, take the kids out of that area, build a school on property we've already got, and not go out and make another purchase somewhere else. As we continue with this process and we continue to buy more property and buy more property, at some point in time, there's not going to be any property left to purchase. Then what are we going to do about making new schools? If we have property in place, if we need to upgrade one site, let's see about options to do that. Design build. This to me is a waste of taxpayer money. If this is the process that we use here, I think it needs to be reevaluated. I think we need to get a design team to build or to work on the aspect of the school that you're going to have and then hand that package to the builder. Not allow the builder to say, okay, this is what you need. How do we know that they're going through the due diligence to say, you know, how am I going to save school district money? Not worried about that. They're going to create a design package that allows you to pay them as much as they can. The contractor at risk basically can name his own price for that. The next thing is, as Lynn stated, nobody really knew that there was a plan to close the school. We've stated that it's been put out, it's been sent home, it's on the site, it's this, that site aspect is confusing to people when they go in there to try to find it, you can't find it. If I was going to put something on the website, I'm going to say right here is the survey, please fill it out. I'm not going to hide it and a bunch of stuff. We're all brought here because of a rumor. We heard there was a rumor that the school was going to be closed. Now today, as I come in here, I hear another rumor that the purchase has already been made for that property. If that is correct, this whole thing is a farce. You're not being on the level with the people if the purchase has already been made. I want to read real quick another aspect here that I've got from another person. He can't be at the meeting tonight. He said, but I hope there's a good turnout. Just acknowledge to them that many former Tomasi students do not support closing this beautiful school. We need our students to be loyal to their own community and not the big complexes that come in behind. Be strong. Feel free to tell them, this is from a former Tomasi elementary student that became a doctor of medicine and wants other Tomasi students to follow in the footsteps. This is from Dr. Michael Lance Queen, Tomasi elementary class of 1968. I want this school to continue to inspire the children of the area to do great things as it has done for me.
There has been no purchase of property.
There has been no investigation of it.
False rumor.
Hey there. I come before you tonight because I'm a concerned community member and an engaged parent. Communities are made up of schools, libraries, public services, and engaged citizens. If you move Tomasi Salem Elementary out of our community, it makes it more difficult for our kids to get to school. Our middle school students are on the bus for about an hour each way every day. For some of our students, the only meals they get are at school or if they are sent home by one of the teachers or guidance counselors. By moving our school away from our community, you are directly taking money out of our teachers, admins, and staff's pockets. The cost of living is only increasing. Bigger schools equals bigger problems. I have a middle school student. He will not go to the bathroom during the day because he's always been told bad things happen in a bathroom. That is not okay. 3 years ago, we uprooted our family to get back to God's country from Charlotte, North Carolina. When my son entered kindergarten, mind you, this was at Torrance Creek Elementary, a northern suburb of Charlotte, there were 677 students enrolled. We were a K-5 school. By the time he got to second grade, there were 1,100 students enrolled. We were bringing in learning cottages 2 weeks before school started just to accommodate. The next closest elementary school, 1.5 miles down the road. This is how quickly growth happens. It happens overnight. My husband and I listened in to the Oconee County Planning meeting just last week. And in that meeting, this is why I share that we're from Charlotte. In that meeting, they referenced 2 future developments in our area. One is off of 130, and there are projected to be 1,800 home sites built. The other is off of Kiowee School Road. These are only the future proposed developments. Those are the known. We don't know what else is coming. There's rumors about Seminole Road being cleared. Those are the known, and they are coming to our area. Tomasi Salem is a gem. I just wish that we had had more time there. We were there for 1 year. I went through 15 years of a private school. I have never stepped foot in a cleaner, more well-run building. We were in one of the premier schools in Charlotte, Mecklenburg County. What Tomasi offers is special, and you cannot explain it. And if you've never been in it, that's a disservice, because it truly is a special place. I grew up with a family of educators, and I wish we had had more time there. If we could have moved sooner, we would have. Believe me, we made many offers, but at least we got a year. I just fear for the families if you don't reconsider closing the doors. I thank you for your time, and I hope you will keep an open mind.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Arlene Chapman.
She just stated my name is Darlene Chapman, and I live in the Tomasi, except in the Tomasi area. I don't have any kids or grandkids in the school. But if you just listen to those three people saying that what a great school Tomasi Salem Elementary is, and they came from a big school, that we don't need a big school. We have a small school, and people are getting a good education there, have good teachers. So I just like to ask you, do not close our Tomasi Salem Elementary School. Yeah, it's small compared to all the other elementary schools, but some of the elementary schools are busting out. People, how many do you have at Walhalla Middle? You probably need more space. James Brown. You know, there's a number of reasons that SB benefit to keep the school open. They just named several. The school's not old, and it's in good shape. She just mentioned that. The teachers and the students take pride in school. Yeah, have you ever walked into it? It's always decorated for a holiday. I mean, whatever there, those people that work the front office are awesome there, and the teachers. So why would you not want to continue that facility? It's not old. You know, Kiwi needs a new school. Listen to Eddie. I don't think Kiwi would mind if for a year they had to be bused somewhere. Maybe Tomasi Salem has extra space. How about the old Salem High School? It's still usable, just for a year. Give Kiwi what they need. Leave us and give us what we need. Another reason, it's not a traffic safety problem. You go to all these schools, Walhalla Middle, go to Walhalla High School, 4 o'clock when they're letting out. How many wrecks have been there? I came by the other day, going north. The traffic lane was backed up. There was probably traffic for a mile. They're slowing down, not just the school people, people picking up kids, but the people that are trying to get by. You have to sit there. So we don't want that to happen. You go to Tomasi Salem Elementary, there's never hardly any all the way to the highway. It's not a traffic safety problem. So have you ever been in and looked at Wall Middle School? How long do you have to sit there to pick somebody up? I have a niece that she has kids at Tomasi Salem Elementary, Tomasi Salem at Walhalla Middle, and Walhalla High School. Takes her about an hour and a half to get all those kids picked up, just because of the traffic. We need to think about our safety. And like one of them said, closing the Tomasi Elementary School would mean students riding buses longer, parents driving further, gas is going up. It would not be the best interest of either. The kids would have to leave home earlier, get home later. Have you ever ridden a bus? I have. When I was in 4th grade, I remember we were on the end of the route, only a mile from school. I fell asleep. You can't do that anymore, can you? My bus driver would say, "You're lazy." But I was tired after being in school all day. So I asked you you were elected as a board to serve the parents and the students and the teachers in this community. So I asked you just to do that, serve them, but continue to let us have our school. And thank you.
I am an older parent of young kids, believe it or not, that are still school-age kids, and we are homeschooling at present, but that's not necessarily always going to be the case, depending on the situation, you know. And a lot of the other people have made a lot of the points that I was going to make. I mean, one situation that you have with a consolidated bigger school as opposed to separate smaller schools is this traffic situation and the amount of time that's involved in both the busing of the kids across the county to get to the school and the amount of time that the parents are taking, and the kids are having to stand around and wait to get picked up in these long lines and the traffic and everything. So, that's just one point. Another point I'd like to make is that we seem to have this process, even if it's not a consolidation of two schools into one, where we're taking schools, like in the case of the Seneca Middle School, taking schools that were in a neighborhood type setting and moving them out onto a highway somewhere. And we have the luxury of that somewhat in Oconee County, it being as rural and as dispersed population as it is, but that is, you know, and I know it must be very difficult and to plan out and figure out how to maintain schools in place while keeping them operational and figure out how to redo the buildings and so forth. But if you go to big cities, there are schools that have been there for 80, 100 years or more, and somehow they're figuring out how to do that, So I don't think it's absolutely necessary to do this process that we've done several times in Oconee County with Walhalla Middle, Walhalla High School, and where you just give up on a building and leave that alone, let it. I mean, you had a lot of problems with Kellett Elementary over the years with that situation. And there's big costs in having an abandoned building, big facilities like that you just walk away from. Just down the road here, the Coney County Courthouse has had that issue with they just abandoned one building and built another one, but then there's the problem of what do you do with that other building? And I think you need to, it's hard to put dollar figures on all of these issues, but I think you need to look at it a different way, that you need to keep up the buildings that you have and try to maintain those facilities instead of just this kind of throwaway process. I mean, it's been executed very well. I would say that it's a very difficult problem either way, and I would commend the way that it's been done, in the sense that if that's what you want to do, is to throw away that facility and start with a brand new one. I think your staff, Mr. Hanby, has done a great job with that, but I don't think that's the way that you should go. And I think the school board has to be forceful, saying, well, we don't think this is the way we want to go, can we look into how other districts are handling the process of maintaining the buildings that they have, and somehow that gets done. I think I've run out of time.
Got 40.
Okay.
That was just your 1 minute warning.
Okay. That's enough. I'm just rambling very now.
All right. That is all, and we appreciate each of you being here and expressing your remarks tonight. We do appreciate that. At this time, the first item on our agenda tonight is a construction update on the new Seneca Middle School from Jack Weber from Trail Construction, and we appreciate you being with us.
How are y'all doing?
Good.
Good to see y'all. See ya. Oh, been sitting too long. So first, I apologize for the quality of the pictures. This was just meant to for us to flip through and to foster some discussion. I think Bill will be here for the next meeting, and he'll have some great looking pictures for you, I'm sure. But just remember, they're great looking because of the quality of the work that's behind them. Keep that in mind. School's coming along very well. I think we're going to be very close to the end of the year to having things wrapped up. First picture is just an overview of the site. You'd see in the bottom of the picture that James Way Road is under construction, and they're back on the widening. It does not show very well, but the grass and trees are being installed on the front of the school. Some of the other pictures will show it better. Trailers are being moved out as we speak. We're getting ready to pave. Paving actually starts tomorrow. The next picture is a picture of the track, and it's ready for grassing. Paving, as I said, starts tomorrow, and we're concentrating on trying to get the outside to come along well. The third picture is a picture of James Way. They're off Wells Highway, and they've got that milled up, and they're paving it back. It's actually probably done now. This was last week's picture. The fourth picture with the metal square in the back is where the asphalt tennis courts will be, and as I said, the paving contract, basketball courts will be, and paving contractors moving back on site this week, and we'll be there until all the paving is complete, so that'll be underway. But you can see most of the area around it is all smoothed out, and since this picture was made, it's actually been grassed, coming along quite well. Next picture is an aerial on the front of the school, and you can see sod has been placed along the front of the school. It's a little better picture. There's about half the trailers that used to be there. We're in the process of moving people out of the trailers and into some of the classrooms as we finish up work for the last few months so that we can get the outside paving and all done. In the bottom right corner, it shows, you'll see the bus drop-off canopy is under construction. The next page shows the drop-off canopy a little bit better in the corner, and it's probably actually done. This was last week's picture. Doesn't take long to complete. Again, just another picture of the front of the school. You can see the sod, nice green, and trees going up, and we're trying to get everything finished on the outside before we get into flooring on the inside, so we're not tracking dirt in the school and keep things clean. Again, just another picture along the front from another angle. Picture with the plywood is the start of the gymnasium floor, and it began actually last week, and moving along quite well. The picture with the air conditioning unit in the back was just the order to prompt me to tell you that the air conditioning is on in the building. It's probably about 80% complete. We actually have air throughout the whole building, and except for some of the classroom units, but the large outdoor air units that supplies air to all the classrooms is functioning, and everything's actually quite cool. And we're working hard at dehumidifying the building as we get in to finish it.
So that people know that we're not just air conditioning for no reason. We have to do that to get the moisture right in the concrete and things where we can put down flooring in the gym, the tile, and
right, and before
the rooms and that kind of thing.
And before we start hanging doors, they'll start expanding and warping. If you recall, I think the last time I was here was in the winter while we were still trying to lay block, and it was raining terribly. And that puts a lot of moisture in the slab, and then we enclose the building and it doesn't get sunlight, so that moisture just kind of sits in the slab. We have to have a moisture percentage of 90% moisture before we start putting down floors. And right now we're well above that, so we've got to run the air conditioning to bring that moisture content down. The floors will stay. Millwork will start cracking and warping and so forth, that we don't get the conditions right in the school before we start putting it in. Picture with the cabinets going in is actually the school district employees that are putting the science casework in the science classrooms. Those classrooms are, from an air conditioning standpoint, fully functional. Even the small classroom units are working. The picture with the piles of wood, that's your gym floor. It's piled up in the hallway where the air conditioning is running, and conditioning so that it doesn't continue to shrink or expand. Gets acclimated for weeks before we put it in on the floor, and make sure that it operates properly for you. Next is just a quick snapshot of the ceramic tile in one of the restrooms, just showing that finishes are coming along very well throughout the building. Ceramic tiles well underway and will soon be complete. The locker rooms with the blue lockers. You can see that the floor has been polished underneath. Lockers are going up. Ceiling tile is in. Lights are in. It's virtually finished on that end of the building. We started conditioning the building, and we started just like we started building the building on the 100 wing, which is the gymnasium to the far right as you look at it from the front, and we worked from right to left. And this is in the first wing, so we're continuing with those finishes and, all the way through, working the building from right to left. The next picture is the main entrance to the school, and where the plastic still is the entrance into your admin area. And the glass is probably actually complete in there at this point. The picture with all the pipes is just showing that that's your classroom air conditioning units, and they are rapidly being piped up, probably at the rate of about 2 per day. And as soon as they get piped up, we bring them online and further control the conditioning in the classrooms to start dehumidifying. This is a picture of the MDF and IDF rooms, which is where all your low voltage cabling comes in through the school. We're trying to get the internet up and working on the school, because your HVAC controls rely on internet. We've got HVAC running, but basically it's either on or off right now until we get the internet system up and working. It's a little difficult to control the air conditioning. That's well underway. Some of the other pictures of just ceiling is just showing that we are moving forward with ceiling grid and ceiling tiles throughout the school as we bring in get the air conditioning on. This is following right behind. The last kitchen, you can see the cooler freezer doors. Our last picture is showing the kitchen area, and all the kitchen equipment is set. Ceramic tile is all complete in the kitchen. We're doing final inspections on the kitchen hood, and it's coming along nicely. I didn't mean to double up pictures of ceramic tile, but that's the next picture. I apologize. And our last picture is water heater. So along with the air conditioning, the plumbing's coming along very well, and it's been a great job. We're excited to be on it. We're happy with where it is, and it's finishing rather nicely.
Anybody have questions, comments?
I was just going to share that Jack and Don have kind of been a dream team for us for a number of years. They first built West Oak Middle together for the school district back in 2007, maybe 2006, 2007. And they've been a team for Trail for the school district since then, so 16, 17 years, and have done great work for Oconee County Schools. So I appreciate you and your team and all you've done. So thanks, because this, I think, will be the last building that you and Don did for the school district.
It will be. So
we appreciate all that you've done for our county and our students.
We appreciate y'all. Y'all been a fine group of people to work with, and it starts at the top and works down through Steve and his people. Great, honest, fair, and y'all been a great day. So thank you for the work, both personally and from Trail.
And earlier, we do use the CM at risk method, which involves architect, general contractor, and owner all working together, and we probably have 100 meetings before we ever finalize anything and go for the GMP and get the information from our contractor. So
I think my walk was easily 150 meetings, but
yeah, I got into that one a little late. So
who's counting?
But thank you for coming out and sharing with the board tonight, and I'll see you on Thursday.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. All right, this time it is time for Dr. Thorslund to give us his report.
Just want to quickly update you on 3 things. Hike for Hope is what's become an annual event for the school district, and we partner with some other groups around the county to bring awareness to mental health and suicide prevention. And Blue Ridge Electric has been gracious to host that event for us, and they're going to host that again. We'll do that on September 30th. It's a Saturday, and would love for y'all to come out. Of course, anybody in the public, we'd love for you to join us as well as we hike the little nature trail around their campus and, just bring awareness to the importance of mental health and the importance, anything that we can do to enhance suicide prevention and make that something that the community doesn't have to experience is positive. So wanted to bring that up. Also, it says emergency drill. We did a tabletop drill last school year. This year, the goal is to do an actual drill with student and adult actors. So we'll be doing that during the week that our schools are closed in October. That's planned for Wednesday, October 11th, and we will be at Seneca High School. And we're cooperating with local law enforcement agencies. Of course, the sheriff's office will take the lead in a lot of ways, but we'll have emergency management, medical, just various agencies from around the county working together to continue practicing and making us prepared for possible emergencies that could come up in the future. So again, wanted you to be aware of that. And then finally, just brag on the third grade swim program again. We enjoy partnering with the YMCA and have just had a great experience for a couple years now with our swim program, and that kicked off a couple of weeks ago and just continues to be great. The students get there and have a great time, and it's not, I probably shouldn't call it the swim program as much as the students are not learning to swim in a week. That's not the goal of the program. It's really emergency preparedness in a different way. It's getting kids acclimated to water and teaching them different scenarios they could find themselves in and how to survive. It could be falling in, it could be they actually take a canoe out in the pool and let kids practice getting out from under a boat. They do various things to make our students more prepared for living around water. And Oconee County, all but just a few miles, we're completely surrounded by water in our county. So it's very important, but it's also just a positive thing to see the kids' enjoyment as they take a field trip to the YMCA for a few days. It's just a fun thing. And I would encourage anyone who wants to see that to go to the Y. I think the way we scheduled it this year, we're going to do it all in the first semester.
Yes.
So there's a morning and afternoon.
Day, in the mornings and then right after lunch. So we'll take two waves each week and we'll finish the week after Thanksgiving.
Continues to be a great partnership between the school district and the YMCA. And of course, the YMCA, I think, is gearing up for potentially expanding their facility so that, we bring a lot of the traffic in the YMCA between the swim program and the swimming team for our high schools. We put a lot of traffic in their pool. So
We've got
two swim teams, right.
We had to divide it. We had so many, we couldn't keep them under one Oconee County.
So it's,
others didn't want to compete against it.
we appreciate what the Y does, and of course, they appreciate the fact that the school board voted to contribute money when that original building took place a few years ago, but we are reaping the benefits for that because our students are, both in third grade and then for the middle school, high school swim team, our students are better off because of the Y being there.
And I think if you do have the opportunity to go and see, I know Crystal spoke to our Rotary Club, and we've been there several times. I think the volunteers are just excited to see our students come in as our students are to be there. So it really is a great partnership with them, and we appreciate it so much. And you still have more to tell us.
I have two more quick items. So the calendar survey results, we spoke last time and we just had two options, but it had come up that our teachers really like Thursday starts. Starting on a Monday is hard. Students coming in after 7 or 8 weeks of no school, starting on a Monday is just difficult. And when we added a Thursday start option, that was the overwhelming choice of our faculty and staff, 70+%. Let's see the numbers exactly right there, but
70.6.
70.6%. Okay, no, I can see that. I'm just looking in the wrong place. And then the two other options, you can see 18.7 and 10.7. but it would be very, very difficult for me to recommend anything to you other than the choice that 70% of our faculty and staff, prefer. And many of those faculty and staff members are also parents. So I think that does have a good feel for what families in our county want as well. And there could be, with this third option, there could be a family that decided to be on vacation that week that ends on August 2nd. And that would now be school days, August 1st and 2nd. If that's the case, because we had a draft calendar that didn't have us starting that early, if that's the case, we would certainly instruct our principals to make arrangements for those families to carry on and start school on the 5th. If that was something the family had already put money down on a vacation rental or something like that. So we can certainly accommodate the few instances that may come up if you choose to adopt option 3, which is what we'll recommend to you for adoption next week.
Any comments or questions on that? All right.
And then the last thing that I have on the agenda is the South Carolina School Boards Association meeting that's coming up with voting delegates. Our county, even though we have 5 school board members, the size of our county dictates that we get 4 votes at that delegate assembly. So you guys just kind of need to decide who's going and which of the 4 of you would vote at that delegate assembly. And I do believe it's permissible for one person to vote, to carry multiple votes. So if not, 4 of you don't go, one can vote 2 votes and the other 2 could vote 1 or however, but just be thinking about who's going to attend and who would get the votes to represent Oconee County. And I think that'll be up for your vote next week as well.
And maybe we'll have an agenda for that meeting by then that we can look at. All right, Mr. Schickling, our August financial report.
Yep, this is the first month of full payroll for all of our 10-month or school calendar employees. So on the revenue side, we brought in close to $5 million. You start to see the tax collections now being reported. Again, they're a month in arrears, so that would have been the dollars collected by the county in July, now showing on the August report. Because we don't have a formal state budget, we're still receiving the payment values of last year's state support or state aid. Once there is a fully passed legislative budget, those will be updated and we'll see the values adjust a little bit for what we're due for the current year. So our budget's based off of the projections from the most recent iteration, which was the Senate's budget. On the expenditure side, again, much larger numbers than the prior month because we have all of our staff working now and receiving payroll. On the disbursements report, a fairly large month for purchasing outflows. The general fund is competing with the capital fund, which is very rare in terms of disbursement dollars, but see a lot of purchases of supplies, pre-purchasing insurances that we need to, have standing contracts for, things of that nature. So a lot of our gearing up for the school operations as August comes, and then standard, capital outflows for construction in progress. Are there any questions that I can answer for you?
I just had one question on the check disbursement, the gaggle.net. And I know that's mental health counseling where we don't have mental health counseling in the schools. The $78,000, what did we buy with that? Is that services? Is that software? What?
It's, that value represents a retainer, by contract. So we have a contract with Gaggle, and that's a retainer that, holds, our spot, if you will, for, a queue of those services so that we can access them. And then as services are rendered, there in that contract, there's a number of different things from consultations to reviews of student files that can take place. Each one of them has a negotiated rate, and then that gets deducted against the retainer. So we had a similar contract in place in the past, and we had utilized all of our time, so this is essentially a renewal, if you will.
So it's nothing that's paid out monthly or quarterly or anything, it's just?
No, it's a one-time retainer, and then, you know, our expenses accrue against it.
All right. Anyone else see anything they had questions about?
I did about the Kelly services. I see two amounts. Are those again monthly, gonna be monthly, or are those the year, what it's gonna cost them to run our?
They're invoicing us on a weekly basis. Their invoices come every Thursday. We have a process for reconciling the absences. We do have a shared system it's called Absence Management. It's a platform that we will review all of the absences that were approved, make sure that the substitutes that were allocated to them are appropriate and at the right rates, and then we'll pay that bill on a weekly basis. And they want to make sure that they're paid in a timely fashion based upon our communications, and I understand they have a lot of cash flow as they have payroll to meet too. But, so we do pay that one frequently.
Anyone else? Okay. All right. Then, Mr. Smith, we have lots and lots of policies tonight.
Thank you, ma'am. You'll recall that these 6 policies are ones that we've actually been in discussion around for the last couple of months. We did ask the board table these for us at last month's meeting, and we appreciate the opportunity that you've given us to kind of go back. One of the things that we've done with that time is to overlay these policies with the state model policies to make sure that we're well aligned with state expectations and regulation, but also make sure that the changes that we made that meet the needs of our students and our community are in place. And so we submit these for your discussion and review. Happy to answer any specific questions that you have about them, but really I'll stop short of maybe discussing them individually unless you want me to.
Do anybody have questions?
The only one that deviates quite a bit from the state model policy is the one that's being displayed now, IKA-R. We did model ours pretty closely with Greenville counties. So the model policy kind of, we feel like, just regurgitates the state uniform grading policy, and we didn't want to regurgitate that, so we just referenced that policy in there. And it makes this policy a whole lot shorter, and I think easier to understand.
All right. If there's no discussion on those, then we'll just review them, and I guess we'll probably vote next week during our regular scheduled meeting on those policies. So be sure, and if you have any questions at all, contact Mr. Smith or someone during the week so we can get those voted on next week. All right, social media lawsuit. Who's going to do that one?
Yes, we talked about this at the last meeting. I gave you the information, a couple of handouts and things, and so I know we don't want to become one who's just a litigious group over, but we had the Jewel lawsuit, and the district will get $73,000 put toward our battle that we have on a daily basis with kids with vapes, kids not understanding the significance of the dangers with vapes and such. So we were able to use that, or we're going to be able to use that money to help us offset that either through education, through devices that pick up the smoke or whatever it's called from the vapes, and be able to do that. This is along the same lines, except it focuses on social media. And working in the student services side with Ms. Hughes right across kind of the office from me, I quite regularly hear about it, and it's Snapchat this, and it was on Facebook, or it was on, social media, and it starts a lot of problems. It also leads to a lot of our kids going to the counselors, guidance counselors, mental health counselors. And so what they have done through their research is they have found that these companies that control Facebook and TikTok and some of these other places have used algorithms that see what a kid is doing and just constantly bombard them with things to get more face time with and interact with their device or their program. And so they have specific ones listed in it that they talk about, but it's as bad as if a kid clicks on something about a vape, then they start getting lots of advertisements about vapes in their feed. So there's a lot to it where the companies knew what they were doing in their minds to increase viewership, which is increasing revenue because they sell ads, and that the more ads that are put on there, the more money the big companies make. So I did a little bit of research. Greenville County is involved in this. Charleston County, I think it was Chester. There's about 8 or 10 districts in the state so far that have signed in to be a part of this. I would, if we were able to get things from, I would think we could help pay for mental health counselors who we're needing more of because of a lot of the things that our kids seen on social media cause or help influence in a negative way. So I wanted to bring it out again. As Dr. Thorson said last time, one of the criteria for the amount that you get is how quickly you join in, and if you're willing to join in. There's a little bit of paperwork, form stuff that Ms. Hughes and myself would probably end up doing based on discipline instances and those kind of things that involve around social media that we give them. But we wanted to bring it one more time because we need to decide if this is something we, as a district, feel strongly about doing.
Anyone have any questions?
I'd just like to say, I feel that it's a good thing that we join, because it would suit me if they closed down all the vaping places.
Yeah, right. And
I see more and more popping up.
And we did join and get money from that.
We did join and they won that one.
This is the same idea for social media. And I, like Mr. Hamby mentioned, I'm not someone who wants to immediately jump to a lawsuit and become an organization that's very litigious. However, in America, that's how companies or corporations are controlled. They want to make a profit, and sometimes they make bad choices to make a profit. And when they have algorithms that target young kids, that maybe they do need to pay a price for that. And anyway, so.
Any more? All right, if y'all are ready to vote tonight, then we can go ahead and move on this. So I would entertain a motion that we join in the social media lawsuit that's being proposed. If we get a motion?
So moved. Second.
All right. Any more discussion at all? All in favor? All right, Mr. Haynes, you're in.
Well, I got one piece of paper you can sign after it's over, I'll get it to them.
Okay, that'll be great. All right, it's time now that we set aside for board member comments. If anyone has anything that they would like to address with the audiences here.
I would like to say, I know the bus issue has been a hot topic, no pun intended, but I would be in favor of anything that we can do to help alleviate some of our issues in the transportation department with our hot buses. And like Ms. Plum said, and it just kind of occurred to me when I was in school 20-something years ago, we started later in August and September wasn't near as hot. And here we are starting in August and September is way hotter. So our buses should be a extension of our classrooms in an instance. And we're certainly not going to put kids in a 100-degree classroom without shutting it down. So I think we need to, seriously look at considering what we would need to do to add on to our bus fleet, if possible.
And we have had those discussions in there, and Mr. Schickling has laid out a budget. We're actually waiting on bids from Interstate in Columbia. That's who we get our buses from. They're supposed to send those to Ms. Gibson. We've been working on that for about, as soon as the day happened. So it was a Friday, there was 100 degrees, humidity was 110, you know, and I mean, it was a perfect storm because I spoke to my colleague in Pickens County, and even though they have newer buses that have the little design wrap around them and that kind of stuff, they had issues with heat as well. Those buses aren't designed for 102 degrees, 40 bodies on there with what they have. And that's just the reality of it. But we are looking at the possibility of coming to you guys after we get the prices, which are, you know, roughly $130,000 to $140,000 per bus, to look at getting potentially 3 more, or even expand that to 6 if we can find the funding, put 2 in each area, at least 1 in each area of a new bus, and then have the ones we have. We haven't had major issue. I mean, we've got buses that the air conditioning works and it's still going to be hot on the bus. We've got a couple that we are waiting on parts for, and yes, it has taken a while with the supply chain, but we've got enough to basically to have what we should have. We can also, it's a little more expensive for the athletic departments. We could use yellow buses if we had to, if they could wait and not have to leave right after school, let a bus run its route. But we do have some buses that don't have air on those routes, still older state buses that don't have it. But our goal is to try to come up with a plan to phase in. The newest buses we have are 2020 activity buses, and we have some that go all the way back to 2005. We have 17 of them. So we have spent a lot of time, and I went down and met with the guys that do the maintenance on them. I met with Mr. Wright. I came back and met with leadership and Mr. Schickling and Dr. Thorson specifically about what we can do. And so once we get those bids back, we're going to be looking to come to you guys to do, because there's a 10-month lead time on them. That's the other problem. So that's why I told them we want to get it as quickly as we can. So with school starting August 1st, we have them when we come back.
Yep, it's not on tonight's agenda, but we have discussed in leadership a fund balance reinvestment plan. So, you know, even dating back to the board retreat and then subsequently talking about year-end results, we are going to have some budgetary fund balance as a result of operations from the past couple of years that is not going to be with us forever. It's not structural. So we'll come up with a proposal to reinvest that, and this is one of the opportunities that we see as an investment for the future that can then be sustained through our regular budget.
And for those of you who are lay people like me with finance, fund balance reinvestment means spending some of the fund balance. That's what he's talking about. Taking some of the money that would be in kind of our savings account, if you will.
One time in, one time out, rather than structural or recurring.
Well, I'm get you to repeat those numbers. You said there were 17 buses, is that what you?
There's 17 activity buses,
And-
regular size, and we have 5 of the smaller ones.
And did you say that the newest ones were 2020s?
Yes, ma'am.
How many of those are 2020s?
We have 2 2020s and 1 2018, if I remember correctly.
And of those, how many air conditionings?
Those are all, I mean, they're air conditioned. The ones, we just have a couple that are missing a compressor that we got ordered and those kind of things. So we got a couple that we try not to use and send out. But we put new Freon in, we loaded them up and tried to get them going. Just if you want me to give you a little more detail, so they have a air conditioner in the back. They have a smaller one sort of midway, and then they have another one in the front. The day that was in question, that Friday night, when they delayed games an hour and a half, and again, it was all over the state. It wasn't just us. Now that doesn't solve the volleyball question that she asked about, but for that one night when we got most of the feedback about it, the next week, next Monday, I went and met with them, and one of our our technicians in there, Brandon, he had gone to get the bus and to repark it where it needed to be parked. It was just at the bus shop. When he got on there, in the afternoon on that Saturday, it was already reading 100 degrees on the bus. He turned the bus on, turned all 3 air conditioners on. There's nobody on the bus but him, and he didn't stay on it long. He ran it for 30 minutes, and when he got on it, it was still out of the back, putting out air that was 102 degrees. The two combined, the front and the middle, it was closer to 86. So they had a little more push. But none of them are made for 102 degrees with 40 kids on them. None of them. I mean, that's,
Right.
And I don't know that in the options that they give us, we ask them, were there upgrades on the air that you can do for some of these buses? So that should be included if we have that option in a quote.
Well, I don't think we'll be faced with that situation anymore this year, I hope.
Right.
But certainly by this time next year, we should
Right.
not be in this situation again, I would hope.
Mr.
Yeah.
Mooney, would it be cost effective or even an option to, look at tinting the windows? Because I know that does help.
We talked about that as an option to see, we really want to see what we can do as far as getting new ones, but tinting is one thing that you can do to cut down somewhat on it. I was a bit surprised when we got in there, because our kids go all summer. I mean, they go to 7-on-7s, they go to basketball, they go to volleyball, it's like a free reign in the summer. And we didn't hear anything, and it was hot in the summer, so that was just the perfect storm of, we had multiple teams playing away. When they go, they take 2 buses for the football players, a bus or 2 for the band, and a bus for the cheerleaders. So you got that. That's 10 buses that have to go out. If somebody takes a Spirit bus, that's 11. Yeah, they get last choice on the Spirit bus. But we've tried to have a system in place where the people that are traveling the farthest get the newer buses. And so we had that conversation again as well. But I apologize that it happened that way. We used to have gyms that had no air conditioning.
Been there.
And that, but we are looking at solutions and trying to come up with some answers to help it. And like you said, I hope that we're headed towards a little bit cooler weather, and getting those by, the first of next year would be good enough to get us going.
Any others? Well, we thank you for all the work that you're doing on this.
I'd just like to thank the people for coming and speaking tonight. It's good for us to listen to your concerns, and we appreciate you coming and expressing those to us.
Absolutely. Okay. All right, then this is the end of our regular meeting, and we'll go into executive session and come back with any decisions that are made there. So if I could have a motion to go into executive session. So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor?